Brighton, Mass. Bruins general manager Don Sweeney has been in search of a left-shot defenseman for the last couple of OFS that could be top-4 material for the black and gold. The hope is that they've found him in free agency after signing 27-year-old John Moore to a 5-year contract on Sunday afternoon that will pay him $2.75 million per. Moore, a former Columbus first-round pick, finally seemed to realize some of his high-end potential with the New Jersey Devils over the last few years, and finished with 7 goals and 18 points in 81 games for the Devils. The D-man topped 20 minutes of ice time per game for the first time in his NHL career and averaged 8 goals and 20 points per over the last 3 years with the Devils. The D-man has ideal size at 6'3", 200 pounds, certainly has some puck-moving skills and is sort of left-side middle ground between a soon-to-be 42-year-old Zdeno Chara and a couple of small, offensive-minded defenders in Torey Krug and Matt Gressick. In that sense, Moore could be the bridge between old guard D-men like Chara, Kevin Miller and Adam McQuaid and some of the younger ones like Gressick, Brandon Carlo and Charlie McAvoy. Moore also gives the Bruins a surplus of D-men with the ability to talk high-impact trades with a prime trade chip like Krug, or at the very least start be in a position of undeniable strength and depth on their back end. The skating component with John's game. He's a bigger player. The last 2 years in the playoffs, really, when you're running through 10 2 years ago, we went through all 8 this year. Brandon Carlo, HASNT even had a chance to play in the playoffs, said Sweeney. I just think, the makeup of our group, we felt that the opportunity to add a player of that nature fit into how Bruce Cassidy wants to play, getting back to retrieve pucks, be able to defend with his feet against faster, bigger, stronger players complements the group we have. We feel very comfortable with the group of guys we have, and well move forward with it. When the trade calls come as a result, that's part of the business, and everybody understands that. It also allows some of our younger players to develop at a natural pace without necessarily putting them in situations they're not ready to handle. For his part, Moore was excited about getting things going with the Bruins, and could really benefit with a couple of excellent D-men instructors in Bruins coaches Bruce Cassidy and Kevin Dean. I said to Don Sweeney that it's an opportunity to join a team like the Bruins who I think are really close from outside looking in. It looks like a really close team, said Moore, who mentioned that his grandfather was born and raised in Dorchester and his dad was also a lifelong Bruins fan. It's a lot of really good, skilled forwards and a lot of great defensemen. An opportunity to join that and to grow my game and continue to get better is something I just couldn't pass up. They were at the top of my list for the entire free agency period. I think in this league you're either growing or dying. I pride myself every day on getting better and growing my game. I try to do whatever the coaching staff asks me, whatever role they want and they see me in. I try and fit that to a T. Everyone wants to be accountable offensively without sacrificing defense, and at my age I feel like I'm coming into the prime of my career. I want to get better in all aspects. Right now, the big picture for the Bruins back end is muddled with too many players for only 6 spots in the nightly lineup. That situation will eventually resolve itself one way or another, but it feels pretty certain that Moore is going to be part of Boston's long-range future after inking a 5-year contract in his first hours of free agency. Brighton, Mass. While it was ultimately disappointment for the Boston Bruins in their chase for big-ticket free agent John Tavares, it wasn't the kind of crushing blow that will discourage Don Sweeney in his off-season team-building efforts. Tavares picked the Toronto Maple Leafs team he grew up rooting for on Sunday afternoon while deciding between 6 teams including the New York Islanders team that drafted him number 1 overall almost 10 years ago. The 27-year-old Tavares signed a 7-year, $77 million contract with the Leafs after spending his weekend mulling the decision, and by most accounts left money on the table with better offers from teams including the Bees, Stars, Sharks and Tampa Bay Lightning. Clearly the addition of Tavares to an already strong Toronto core group significantly improves the Maple Leafs, and that leaves the Bruins as the 3rd best team in the Atlantic Division behind both the Leafs and the Lightning. That's the most disappointing part for Sweeney, who took it as an organizational compliment that Tavares considered Boston in the first place. I would very preferred Tavares not be in our division. The overall process was a really good process to structurally have somebody else dive inside our own team. We were thankful for the opportunity to present, said Sweeney. Pat Brisson and his group and John himself were really good about it, and he was well prepared. We felt we were. We put our best foot forward and it didn't fall our way. But, again, to be in that situation is something that our group should be happy about, and it's probably a reflection of what we're trying to do and trying to accomplish. But I wish it had fallen our way. The good news is that the Bruins don't have to go through the salary cap gymnastics that would have been mandatory had they signed a player of Tavares' caliber. Sweeney admitted earlier this week that he had moves already set in place if they did somehow land the elite center, and it was expected that either David Krejci or David Backes, or perhaps both, would have been on the move if those dominoes started falling. Now the Bruins have less urgency from a salary cap perspective with their current roster, with roughly $4 million in cap space after entering the NHL free agency market. They still need a second-line winger to add some scoring punch to their attack up front, but sounds like it might be a slow play on the trade market to eventually get that player. On this day, though, it was about the Bruins shooting for it all by chasing Tavares in free agency, and falling short again after they took a similar swing at Ilya Kovalchuk during NHL draft weekend as well. The Bruins are falling short in closing the deal on these elite players, but there's also something to be said with Boston being in the mix at all with game-breaking players. It's obviously a reflection of our current players and a testament to them. I think stylistically, to our coaches, to the organization, to the support from ownership, with this new practice facility. Overall, it's a reflection of our entire organization, said Sweeney. I've said all along, it's about winning. That's the mandate that we're trying to put forward to all of our players, whether it was the development camp guys or the highest level free agency players that we're trying to attract and to be a part of what we're trying to do. That was obviously part of the Boston sales pitch with Tavares that included a phone call from Patrice Bergeron, but eventually fell short of the rival Maple Leafs getting much better in NHL free agency. Here are all the links from around the hockey world, and what I'm reading while NHL free agency has once again come and gone. Good piece from Larry Brooks outlining the tough choice for Rick Nash, who really had some issues with concussions during his time with the Rangers. Those head injuries are a big part of his decision to sit out the July 1st open of free agency and could keep him away from the NHL for a while. Could he jump onto a contender mid-season or sit out the entire year? I think either is possible for the 33-year-old, or he could decide he's getting the itch to play a little bit further down the line this summer. The good news is that Nash has his health right now, and has made enough money where he can do whatever he wants to do moving forward. Austin Czarnik has left the Boston Bruins organization for the Calgary Flames, and is excited for the opportunity he'll have out west. The Flyers and Jay O'Brien are confident that the Massachusetts kid is going to be just fine after being a first-round pick in Philadelphia. Drew Doughty got his contract extension done amidst the frenzy of July 1st free agency, and has basically assured that help's going to be an LA King for life. Shane Bowers is on the 2-year plan at Boston University as he develops his game while also a prospect for the Colorado Avalanche. One hopes that the Carolina Hurricanes work something out with Chuck Keiton, who has been a staple for the Canes organization since their very beginning. For something completely different, the 10 best movies and TV shows to during the month of July.